This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Hello there. After a 10-hour workday, it's about 11 p.m. when I finally get around to finalizing my podcast and uploading it to the internet. So I definitely need a lot of energy, but I don't need all that caffeine. So I rely on Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. It's a coffee fruit extract, so you get about as much caffeine as a cup of coffee, but you get all the vitamins you could possibly wish for and all the energy, and about half the price. If you spend $4 a shift on energy drinks, you're spending $80 on sugar per month. Why don't you cut that in half and try Dubby Energy Blend? And if you go and visit Dubby.gg and use the promo code CatBusRuss at checkout, you're going to save yourself 10%. So on top of spending half the money, you can at least go and get one over on the tax man. So that's Dubby.gg, promo code CatBusRuss, and start feeling energized today.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll. Bring the noise.
My name is Russ.
Hey.
Thanks for coming.
You got it.
I was pondering, especially after Barry Blaustein's passing,
Right.
And you did so much to really promote Beyond the Mat. Did you ever really get an itch to have that made-for-DVD movie run that Steve Austin had?
Oh, no. I really thought about. I remember going out to California and I had a bunch of I had meetings for years, but I really enjoyed writing, and I also understood that I just was getting off the road full time, and at that time it was about 250 days a year, maybe a little more than that. And I was like, I wanted to be a full-time dad, and so I thought I probably could have done some character work. I wouldn't have been a big star, but I thought I probably could have landed some roles. But I love wrestling. I love the instant feedback. If anyone's seen my one-man shows, it makes me feel like, I think I do a good job on them. It makes me feel like I did when I was in the ring, and acting does not. It's take after take after take. It's sitting in your trailer. And I've enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed being in the Peanut Butter Falcon. It was a small part, but it was a good part, and I had a say in the wrestling scenes, and actually writing dialogue for Thomas Hayden Church. And so I have had some really good experiences, but I've never been on set for more than a week. I don't love it. I like it, but I don't love it. And, ultimately, in a perfect world, you should be in a position where you love doing what you do. And I liked it, but I never loved it. And nobody ever really offered me a lot of money to do it either. So that might change things. But I just didn't have the itch to do that. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hello, and thank you for checking out this episode of I Dig Crazy Flicks presents 90 for Chill, the podcast with Cat Bus Russ. I'm your host, Cat Bus Russ. I say that it's a 90 for Chill episode because I will bring up some anime to close out this month. I'll also insert the Trapped in Anime interview I did back at C2E2. That was on a Saturday night, and those were some cool guys. So you can hear my hottest take about anime, and you can find them. Sorry, the business card only has the QR code, so let me just quickly search for their information. So they are the Trapped in Anime YouTube channel. That's at Trapped in Anime for anybody who wants to check out the other hot takes they were provided from or to at C2E2. As for Quad Cities Comic Con day 2, it was pretty quiet, all things considered. We did get to see more cosplay like I predicted, but that really kind of told me the flaws, the layout of the con at that point. So our meeting room was in a corner of this, I wouldn't say arena, kind of a, called it exhibition halls at the Peoria Civic Center. And the meeting rooms, they had 3 of them. So they were one shy of Missouri Comic Con in Springfield, but at least everything was connected. We weren't running across buildings. So, hey, it let me see Mick Foley this time. Let me see panels this time, which is great because we also had that with only 3 panels. There's 1/4 of the hour that wasn't occupied. So a little bit more flexibility. But panel room 2 was right across from the little backdrops, I would say, which were meant for the cosplay meetups and such. And I don't think there were any cosplay meetups. That's something that I think VXV should work on and scheduling and what have you. But nobody knew it was there, essentially. Like, my room's across from it, so there should have been people there all the time getting photos and such. But it's a first-year convention, so I can't fault them too much, and, they will be better. Hopefully they'll be back in the Quad Cities, because I did have fun. Heck, another area with a Hooters. Of course I want to come back. And it also shows the importance of being the first fan panel of the day. The It Has Pockets group did a cosplay panel about putting pockets in your cosplay. And I know Panel Room 1 had a few more cosplay events. The prior day, it was all other Q&As with celebrities. And then it just dropped off from there. I hope the people at the leather... Sorry, trying to find my phone to get their name again. The Leather Peacock. There we go. Yeah, it came to my mind. Just have to get up and, put the knees at rest, what have you. I digress. I hope they had a good panel after us. But yeah, we, for our panel, the 1985 action movie triple threat match, we didn't really have anybody to start. And then we had a mother or an aunt, what have you, bring in her kids, probably no one over the age of 15. And she wanted us to see what we would do. And, it wasn't for them. But it was great for her coming in to, show that it's worth it. I told her I really wish we had counters there. And just so we can say, hey, it worked. But so me and the Poetic Critic chatted for probably about 10 minutes. And then Zachary came in. He's a kid on the autistic spectrum, 20 years old. So he was fun just chatting with, kind of telling him about movies from this time. Real receptive. He also called us out. Are either of you on the spectrum? And, I kind of pointed to my older sister, and my older sister is very proud of her autism status. I think it was easy for them to kind of get along, or she was definitely became more patient, I think. And yeah, we just chatted for a little bit, and only thing I could question is, well, he did ask for a sample of the W Energy, and I just poured him a little shot glass, so I don't think I'm going to get in too much trouble for giving somebody the stuff that I don't know if they should have had. But as I say, it was a shot glass worth, and I told him, this is not something you take full time. And it was fun talking with him, bringing up movies to my older sister that hey, maybe you should watch, like Pray for Death, and how that could be a drinking game for everybody. And Zach in the audience went and said, how is that so? Do you either of you drink? No, we don't, or not anymore. And I'm just saying you could have a shot if you'd get just plastered every time a shuriken hit somebody in the face. So it was fun, and Poetic and Critic and I got back to Peoria on Sunday, probably before 6. I was able to get myself Gardner's Pizza and wings for us, and they close early on a holiday weekend. And then the next day I got Rory a laptop, or directed her to a laptop. I did not purchase it myself. And she's, I hope she, took a while to set it up just because she wanted to be all personal on it. And then it's like, yeah, but the Microsoft Office is my name. And then it pulls up the old files from the HP laptop, at least on the OneDrive, and cleared that out. So if she's going to, I get the treat to keep track, I suppose, of whatever she uploads to the file. So in other words, I got to go and get her an SSD drive at some point. But that's for another time. So as I say, I will complete anime with a review for another Street Fighter anime adaptation, another one from the 90s. And before we get to all of that, including the Trapped In Anime group, I'll get my formalities out of the way. So if you want to help the podcast out, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast app, 5 stars preferably. Be as honest as you like to be in the comments. So, kind of passive-aggressive criticism is what I'm asking for. 5 stars, but really come in hard on me, and I will learn and make it a better podcast just for you. You can also help the podcast out by becoming a Patreon member. That's patreon.com/idigcrazyflix. For $3 a month, you will get yourself ad-free podcast, access to the original 90forchill.com, the podcast feed, to learn to determine if I've evolved as a podcaster. You will get yourself a waterproof sticker or a refrigerator magnet, which helps me out at my job. They know my locker, at least. And you will get a shout out on every episode as long as you're subscribed. So thank you, The Scoop Staley. I will get around to that AEW Collision. I got to get to AEW Double or Nothing, which was kind of weird because Mick Foley wore the exact same outfit when I saw the clips of him debuting as he did at the panel. So living up to his reputation of, I just know doesn't own 2 of that set. All right, hopefully he changed his underwear. That's all I can ask for. I say all that also because Tim Bates was very much about, hey, what kind of stories can you get? All the stories of frugality and such. Mick Foley, that is. But you can find Tim on episodes on this podcast feed about 1989's Bloodsport in Space, Arena, and the 1988 horror comedy classic, Night of the Demons. And thanks, Dad, for all your help in getting me and the big sister up to the Quad Cities last weekend. I think the best way you can help the podcast out is to come on the show and be a guest. Just offer me a film, a director, an actor, a theme, as long as the plots are off the walls, a little out of touch with reality. I'd love to fry up a slice of fried goal with you. But if you have something a little more down to earth, and it's something I kind of learned to put in the act, if it's down to earth, I'll give you Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise. I will not give you Boyhood. Keep it between 70 and 100 minutes. And I'll give you 40 minutes at the very least on Zoom. You can reach out to me by going to idigcrazyflix.com and pushing on the Contact Us button. You can send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Or reach me on my social media at CatBusRuss on Blue Sky primarily, but I'm also on Instagram and Threads. Otherwise, all I really have left to do is, thank Allie Higgins for checking on Ava, the Queen Kitty. I've got patches for her from the convention. Not a big merch day. I got patches for her, and I got myself a 3D printed Deadpool cat, or Catpool. I'm trying to figure out, with looking for a new car, how to make it a cat bus. And my original stuffed cat bus I got way back in 2015 at the first Wizard World I went to in Chicago is kind of worn from the sunlight. So might be time to refresh. But thinking about people I need to thank thank you, Stacey Marie Harden, for keeping me out of too much trouble, being my inspiration. I hope you're doing the same for everything and everybody you touched in your life. And I hope you're squeezing some ectoplasm out of Skimbleshanks the one-eared angel. Just squeeze until he chirps, because he's a talkative little one. So with all of that said, I will get to the review for Street Fighter Alpha the Animation and my hot take from the Trapped In anime at C2E2. Thanks for checking out I Dig Crazy Flicks, and we'll be back next week.
We'll be right back. Obey the law.
You do not have to be like me, because I know that everybody's social media feed is bombarded with ads for the new guilt-free snack. But you're scrolling on social media, so you're curious about a lot of things. And fortunately for me, I have a pretty high batting average when it comes to trying stuff from online sources. One of those hits was Deutsch Snacking Dough. It's cookie dough. You can eat raw, you can bake into cookies in under 10 minutes, and it just fills you up in a few scoops. I like to eat a pound, maybe 2 pounds of chicken wing in a sitting, and still there's the urge to go for that third pound. But with Deutsch Snacking Dough, you take a couple scoops, and it just settles me down, and I feel full. Free of the top 8 allergens, they're gluten-free, low sugar, and have 3 times the protein of any other dough out there. And it's plant-based. And as I say, I can eat 3 pounds of wings in a sitting if I feel like it. I am a carnivore. Needless to say, I was skeptical about plant-based snacking dough, but my skepticism was proven wrong. So if you go down to the link in the description of this podcast, it will take you to my portal, and you will get 20% off of your order. So find your new snack today. Deutsch Snacking Dough.
The true warrior enters the arena with all his powers at the ready.
Our style was originally used for killing. The wish to become the strongest of all. You must never let such a desire rule you, or allow the dark Hado into your fists. One possessed of an evil spirit will fight out of pride until his dying day, and most likely fight to kill. Just like Akuma, who took up the Dark Hado, and whose hands are dark with the blood of his own master, Kotetsu.
I have come to tell you something about your future. Will you grasp the light, or be swallowed by darkness?
Kill me. If I'm possessed by the Dark Hado and can't break free, Ken, I want you to be the one to do it.
To conclude anime and to find something that kind of fits in with the theme of Mick Foley, I decided to watch Street Fighter Alpha the Animation from 1999. It is a film that tries to tell a story just throwing together all the characters from the Street Fighter Alpha series, which a lot of them, of course, are in Street Fighter 2, the previous game. This is a prequel game, so, you know, by this point, we've already got our stories about Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li. It's nice to see characters like Sakura get a little more play, and the character Rose, and Birdie from the original Street Fighter. But beyond that, it's kind of boring, I guess, in a sense. I don't want to be that harsh. For me, the violence in it is kind of like Dragon Ball Z in anticipation for the big exploding move and excuse for somebody not to die from said exploding move. The story is about Ryu, who's struggling with his powers, his ki, the fact that he is being tempted to go as extreme as his master's former protege, Akuma, who is consumed essentially with the dark side of martial arts, the Dark Hado. As he's trying to deal with this, he is introduced to a long-lost brother who seems to also have the same kind of powers, definitely not as strong as his. And there's a mad scientist who wants to harness this power to become the ultimate fighter, despite he's definitely not putting the time in the gym. We'll put it that way. As for Sakura, she just sees him... Sakura. Sakura. She just sees him save the day of a mugging at one point and wants to become him, or idolize him at the very least. So yeah, the fights are just way too long with nothing really to do except show off this unique style of animation. I would say it kind of feels, well, it's from animes. I'm sure that probably has a route and clamp. So kind of a pastel kind of feeling. Art-wise, it doesn't pop like Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, or Street Fighter 2V, the television series. It's once you end up getting past the second act, the third act is just dull and suffers from it. There's obviously not a unique music soundtrack. Like, I've seen the Japanese version of Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, and I think it's a little silly, the soundtrack on that, but it definitely has more power than just, just constant humming. It seems very repetitive, nothing unique. It just doesn't really fit the Street Fighter loudness, I should say. You might get some over-the-top animated scenes, but after that, it's just, when is the bad guy going to get killed? It's silly. I bought this on VHS back in the day, and I saw it in a $5 bin at Walmart probably 10 years ago and had to pick it up. And really, I can't say, is it worth $5? Perhaps, but not something you should go out of your way to look for.
I've had it with you. I've had it with all this. I want room service! I want the club sandwich. I want the cold Mexican beer. I want a $10,000 a night hooker! I want my shirts laundered. Like they do at the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo.
Anime is way too easy to access now. In the 90s, it was save up my allowance, go buy a single Evangelion tape, and then wait for the next month to get the next one. The anticipation, it made it feel so special. And then anime was on Cartoon Network all the time. And then, okay, I can't wait to buy disc. What do you mean? It's all in one? I want to make it feel special. And I think we've lost that with the internet. Same day? No, I want that anticipation.
Can I hear a wahoo?
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.